What's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. I am super stoked to bring this episode to you today. This is actually by high request. I was hosting an in-person event about how to build trust in yourself by reconnecting with your felt sense, and the outreach that I had asking if it was going to be recorded, if I would have a virtual option. I'm not able to come this weekend. Are you going to have another one? It was just very apparent that I should make this also readily available for truly the collective, right? For anyone that is looking for this type of content to be able to be a part of this three-part series. So this is what this episode is about today, the audio version of how to build trust in yourself by reconnecting with your felt sense. And I also have, if you want to watch this on video, I recorded it on video also. So you will have the video option to watch, or this audio, this podcast episode to listen to, same exact format. It just won't have this little bit of a teaser on the video. But if that's what you are looking for, video or audio, I will link that in the show notes below. But solely come as you are. And if maybe you're driving or you listen to me at a certain time and you're not able to actually be interactive in this workshop, since this was an in-person event, it was very interactive. We would pause and do little journaling exercises. We had little meditation and just kind of breakout sessions. So if you're able, grab a journal. If you're not able, still pause me, still follow the prompts that I'll give you, and just do whatever feels good to you. If you are driving, you could always come back. If you just want to think about, the prompts that I'm asking instead of journaling, that's fine too. Just do what feels good to you. Come as you are. Do how you want to interact and process this workshop. Because always remember, you do not need to force a new version of yourself. You just need to stay connected to the one that's already here. So, with that said, let's dive in. Hey beautiful, welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey. This is your weekly sanctuary for waking up from autopilot and transforming the way you approach life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It is my mission to help you heal unprocessed emotions and release stuck energies by alchemizing your struggle cycles into opportunities for deep self-love, awareness, trust, and connection, to return to your innate essence of being, stepping back into your energy of alignment. Because here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light, embodying all parts that make you, you. So if you are ready to get to the root of cultivating real change, get cozy, grab your journal and maybe favorite crystals, and let's discover our power within together. Hello, and welcome to event 1 of a 3-part workshop series that I'm bringing to this collective, to Naturally Empowered Living, on how to build trust in yourself by reconnecting with your felt sense. Now, today's event, today's workshop, we will be becoming open to a new cycle, really bringing an awareness to a new way of being without force. We'll learn about why we are more conditioned in overriding ourselves, digging deeper into some discernment between what intuition is, what it feels like, versus what force is, and what force feels like, that urgency feeling, and also experience what it feels like to reconnect to ourselves by going through a guided somatic practice that I'll be leading here and now today. So one note here is that this workshop was originally an in-person event. So there's a little bit of guided practice with some internal journaling and internalization, just really connecting with yourself, because that's how I formulated it to be in person. But I had a lot of outreach of, are you turning this into a virtual event? Are you going to be recording this class? And I'm like, why not? Like, that is such a great idea to be able to bring this actually to the collective. So you'll actually have to pause me. So as I'll tell you, to take some time to journal now. You could physically pause this video as we're going through this workshop virtually, as you're listening to me, watching me, and do your thing, and then resume me, and then we'll keep going with the class. Or you could listen to me full through, and when this video is over, then you could pull out your journal or do your reflection or integration, whatever feels best for you. Okay. This is meant for you. Nonetheless, my intention for you after this workshop, event one, is complete, is that you leave here thinking, or like you conclude this, listening to me thinking, like, oh, I feel different, or that was new. Like maybe I never felt that before, or maybe I didn't realize, insert the blank, right? I didn't realize how much I don't listen to myself, how much I do listen to external noise or chatter or whatever that might be. Maybe you are just regaining a renewed sense of reconnecting with yourself. So I'm so excited to dive into today's workshop. Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is Jenna Smith, and I'll kind of be sharing little bits of my story as we're going through this workshop today. But over the last decade, I have dabbled into health and fitness coaching, into life coaching, and I have settled very strongly and embodied my work into my life in opening my therapy practice in energetics and somatic therapy, really helping people heal through their hardships, through their addictions, their trauma, their anxiety, their low self-esteem, their self-sabotaging cycles, to really gain that awareness and that self-awakening into who they truly are, like that woo woo of like coming home to yourself, right? To really feel like you're you again, to find yourself again, to reconnect, to truly live a whole embodied life. And I use a somatic and root cause based approach in helping guide you into your unfolding, like into your self awakening. So thank you so much for being here. Now, I'm going to invite you to pause me in just a minute, but to go ahead and pause me and open a journal, or maybe just shut your eyes and think about why you enrolled in this mini workshop, or why you are here listening to me now. Like, why am I here? Maybe you're ready to stop abandoning yourself, or you're ready to learn of why you feel stuck in some habitual loops that, you don't want to be in anymore, but like they're still happening over and over. Like you have this conscious awareness of like, I want this to stop, but why can't I stop it? Why can't I break this habit? Maybe you're tired of people pleasing and you want to be confident in your own opinions and leading in your own opinions. Maybe you long to discern what, or you long to learn what that discernment is of that inner knowing versus that external force. Maybe you're longing for peace, inner sovereignty, a sense of calm, or learning how to regulate. Or maybe this is a lot of people that come to me. They are so self aware and they're just struggling in the how, Like, I know this about me, or I know I want to break this habit or this loop, or I see this pattern rehashing in my life over and over and over again. It is not serving me, but I cannot figure out how to overcome, how to stop, how to break. Okay. So go ahead and pause me now and just take a moment to write down why you are here. And now, once you replayed me, hi again. Now I want to just share something heart to heart with you, that none of us lack intuition. None of us lack our inner wisdom, like that connection to our inner wisdom. None of us lack that discernment of having that voice, right? Insert your terminology here. It could be a connection to a higher spirit. It could be the Holy Spirit. It could be any sort of connection, okay? What we might be lacking, or where we might have a disconnection, is that felt sense, is that connection to our bodies. And we can't trust something that we're not listening to. So, as many things, like self trust is built or rebuilt through that felt experience, through coming back home to our bodies. Not so much the mental force or the mental cognition or that willpower. It's also bridging to that body, into the soma, into the felt sense. And we call this a bottom up approach, where a lot of modalities start at the top down, to where we stay and we get so stuck in that conscious awareness. We get stuck in that conscious mind. And this is where we're bridging that gap into our bodies to bridge the mind body connection. So let's begin. Let's begin by doing a collective grounding. Okay, just a quick visualization meditation. Again, if you're driving, you could, skip forward, or if you want to come back to this, or just listen through me now, whatever you're doing. If you're able to shut your eyes, if that feels okay, or if you're doing whatever you're doing right now, whatever feels good to you. Just notice your feet on the ground beneath you. Those feet supporting your legs, and your legs in your midsection supporting the rest of your body. How it's holding you up, or if you're laying down, how you feel supported on the ground. And on your next inhale, I invite you to intentionally exhale a little longer than that inhale. And again, have that exhale a little longer than that inhale, allowing your belly and your lungs to fully empty. And just keep that awareness on your breath. And whenever you're listening to this workshop, if it's at a cusp of a new season within the world, wherever you're living, or maybe in your life, just know that every new day, every new moment is an opportunity of rebirth. And this year, here and now, 2026, is a year of one. It is a 1 year in itself of new beginnings, the start of a brand new 9-year cycle. And even if you're listening to this in a different year, I invite you to think about who you were 9 years ago. Allow yourself to go back. What were you doing? Who were you 9 years ago? Think about everything that happened since then. The growth, the heartbreak, the becoming. And know that that cycle is complete or is completing. That slate is clear. Whatever didn't work out, whatever fell apart, whatever you outgrew, it served its purpose. And you get to begin again. This is your moment to decide, who do I want to be? What do I want to build? What life am I ready to step into or align into? The universe is listening. The energies are here for you. And whether you believe in cycles or energetics or not, psychologically, we move in seasons, in chapters, in ebbs and flows. And remember, You don't need a new year, a new resolution, a new external should. You need what your body, what your heart, what those soft whispers are connecting you to. You have permission to change your mind, to change your circumstance, your direction. You have permission to change everything. One energy is about you, your desires, your vision, your leadership, your energy of alignment. Step into your energy of alignment. What makes you, you? What makes you feel good? Choose that with courage. Choose it boldly. And choose that while you're connected to yourself. And now I invite you to slowly transition back to this present moment, bringing your felt sense of connection back to this moment. Maybe that's wiggling your fingers, your toes, opening your eyes if they're closed. Just giving yourself a moment to bridge your external world to that internal world you were just journeying through. And I'll invite you once again to pause me, pull out your journal, or just take a second to jot down, to think about what you felt or experienced in that quick ritual. There's no right or wrong, just what you experienced. Any feelings, sensations, thoughts. Go ahead and pause me. And as you're completing that, I wanted to merge that grounding ritual, right? It was a little bit of like, okay, let's ground into this present moment. Let's get here together collectively in this energy. But also with the beauty, this is kind of time sensitive, but the beauty of where we are in this time of our lives, of this world, right? We have this workshop, going through learning how to discern our internal intelligence from the external forces of the world. It's a brand new year. We have all these resolutions and you should do this and should do that. And so many of us try to change our lives through force. New year, new rules, new goals, new discipline. We're trying to like keep up, keep up, keep up. We're building that confidence, trying to build that confidence. And it is almost, in a sense, counterproductive because on top of trying to meet external expectations, we're abandoning our internal sense of self, our internal connection. And those cycles start to repeat themselves. And then we constantly look outside of ourselves for the approval, the certainty, someone else to tell us that we're doing it right. So now I want to transition into some educational talk of why, right? Why that is. Why do we override our needs? Why do we easily, turn to that external outreach? Okay, let's start with sharing some of the why behind that. Like why we're becoming so much easier codependent on external and disconnecting from ourselves, overriding our own needs. And starting with a little bit of truth, like overriding yourself, it's not a personality flaw. It's not weakness. It's not a lack of confidence. It's a nervous system adaptation. Because at some point in your life, consciously or unconsciously, it became safer to keep the peace or stay small or be agreeable or anticipate someone else's needs, which in turn disconnected you from your own. And that connection and belonging felt more important than authenticity in those moments. Survival became more important than authenticity in those moments. And your body remembered that. Your body learned that survival. Survival equals like necessity, right? So now, fast forward to present time, when you feel something, maybe a no or a boundary or discomfort, your system responds with like, ooh, anxiety, like no, 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 or guilt or overthinking, rationalizing, possibly shutting down completely. Not because you don't know what you want, because it once felt unsafe to want it. And every time we override our body, ourselves to maintain that survival, which is obviously very important, we're also diminishing and disconnecting from that self trust within us. And the more that happens, the easier it becomes. And then also each decision feels heavier and heavier. And that's why some of us, we might have patterns or habits where we start strong and all gung ho, and then we stop halfway, or some sort of self sabotaging happens. Or we know what we need to do, but we don't always follow through with it. Or maybe we're polling five people before we make a decision, and that decision never comes from what we truly want. Or we get stuck in that analysis paralysis. Like that analysis paralysis, it's not confusion. None of that is confusion or not knowing what you want. It's protection. And protection lives in the nervous system. So when your system perceives a threat to that survival, that's when those fight or flight or freeze or fawn responses come. People pleasing, that's fawn. Overworking, that could be flight. Shutting down, freeze. Arguing, defending, that guard coming up, that's fight. And our nervous system, it is so intelligent, it is so smart. But sometimes it gets sticky because not everything is black and white. And what once worked in the past to potentially help your survival or helped, calm the moment, it doesn't help in the present time of your life. So, and also another segue with our nervous system, like we still go through these responses naturally, right? We go through a wave of our nervous system response. Heaven forbid I step out in traffic. You better hope that I, trigger some sort of nervous system response. So these our system is very intelligent. However, when these become chronic responses or when we get stuck in a heightened state and aren't able to then come back down to that baseline of regulation, and we're stuck in that dysregulation of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, maybe a combination of both or a few, that is when we get that like can compound and become our new baseline. And it becomes harder to stay connected to ourselves. We get caught in that urgency. We get caught in that fight. We get caught in that fawn. And sometimes it can disguise itself as intuition because for so long we have learned how to look outside ourselves. So then we think that is us trusting ourselves when ultimately we're looking at those external validations. And this is where discernment comes in. Because if our nervous system at one point learned that authenticity wasn't safe, then what happens? Our nervous system becomes dysregulated in those moments, but then we're not able to possibly come back down or process or regulate again. So we never lose our intuition. We sometimes just lose that access, or maybe we don't know how to access it. So here's a little bit of practice of how you can reconnect or maybe listen to that intuition. Because intuition, that inner guidance system, it's soft. Nervous responses are loud, they're urgent, they're now. So if you're in a fight response, like everything might feel threatening. If you're in flight, things feel urgent and like you got to get out now. Freeze, things might feel foggy, like, you just freeze up. And fawn, like everything is like, what do they need? You're completely disconnected from yourself. Like there's no space within those responses to hear or connect to your internal signal. So what we might say is like, I don't trust myself is often it doesn't feel safe or it didn't always feel safe enough to listen. Now I hope that that's landing for you because we're not able, again, this was an in-person event, so I, started the workshop with raising hands and asking questions, and it was a very interactive workshop. So now it's more so just an education, me talking at you. So please, at any point in time, jot down questions. You could email me, hello@naturallymempoweredliving.com. Check out other podcast episodes, all the things, all the things, all the time. So let's jump into a little more of this discernment. Anxiety, fear, egotistical thoughts, external validation, force versus intuition, inner wisdom, internal guidance, Holy Spirit, higher power, whatever you want to call that internal guided system. There's differentiation. There's different sensations between those. That anxiety, that fear, that ego, that validation voice, it's very urgent, like I said before. It's like catastrophic, like, oh my gosh, like the world is ending type energy, right? We spiral easier. We need an immediate resolution. We feel contracted, tight, maybe hot in our body. Like everything is like I'm feeling it now as I'm just talking. Maybe it's all also often future based. Okay, we're looking forward versus staying presently embodied in the moment, where the intuition, the inner knowing, the Holy Spirit, higher power voice, it's soft, it's quiet, it's subtle, steady. Okay, it doesn't argue, doesn't panic. It's grounded. It's often simple and direct. Like that's the biggest differentiator is if something is like yelling loud at you or like you're feeling that urgency, I invite you to pause. Pause. Reconnect with your breath and allow that softness and the subtleness that is still there to also be heard. Because it's all often overridden by that urgency catastrophic spiral. Now, I hope that this lands for you because now I want to kind of segue into a little bit about my story, right? I mean, for most of my early adulthood, I was deeply, deeply disconnected from myself. So let's kind of paint a picture. Maybe you could put yourself in my shoes or relate to some point of my story with where you're at or maybe where you were in your life. Or maybe just to kind of bring a little bit more of a different perception of how to allow this to land, okay? Like on the outside, I looked functional, capable. I'm probably looked confident, looked good on paper. I mean, internally though, like I was anxious, I was people pleasing, I was constantly scanning the room, reading the room, just trying to fit in, not stand out, just trying to get it right. And I struggled with an eating disorder for most of my early 20s. I numbed with alcohol for almost 2 decades. Like I just was so disconnected from my body constantly, disconnected from myself, trying to control, trying to pull, right? To really just control, like to force. I just said trying to control, but that knowing that I was so hurt inside, like I didn't know any better because I didn't feel safe enough to sit with what was underneath those coping mechanisms. Like I had unprocessed emotions. I had grief and shame and fear. And instead of feeling it, I coped. And coping in my life looked high functioning, looked successful. I looked fine, right? That other F word, fine. But I didn't know how to sit with the discomfort. I didn't know how to process emotion. I only knew how to numb it, how to run from it, how to shove it under the rug and keep going, to be that consistency queen. And when you override yourself long enough, I mean, yeah, you burn out. You've probably heard that term, you burn out. but you stop trusting yourself. You don't know who you are anymore. You lose yourself completely. Yeah, I was functioning. Thought I was self-trusting because I was disciplined, I was consistent. But I learned that it was just discipline layered over dysregulation. And I mean, this is a complete Cliff Notes summarization of my story. I have many podcast episodes about my story and the struggles that I've been through and the turning points. So to kind of wrap, this piece up is the turning point for me. It wasn't this dramatic breakthrough. I mean, we'd be here for hours if I shared everything about my self-awakening journey, right? But that pivotal piece for me was becoming a mom. Like my children mirrored everything I hadn't healed within my life. I mean, it was like in the fog of the postpartum, the intrusive thoughts, like perspectives were like my whole life was just upheaval, right? Perspectives literally started to like I started questioning everything and everything it just was different. And I had this moment, right? Using air quotes because it was never like a flip of a switch. Certainly, like certain things, yes, was a complete flip of a switch. But like what I said, listening to my podcast, I like dive into certain parts of my story. You could check it out on my website. But this unfolding really became like this umbrella moment when I realized, like, if I don't learn how to sit with myself, like, I will teach my children these same patterns that I struggle with, like to abandon themselves and pass down those same patterns over and over and over again. Like that was the shift. Like that was my wake up call. And I mean, we all have different moments in our lives where we kind of have that wake up call. Some might call it a midlife crisis, some might call it a self awakening. But I really stopped trying to think so much my way into healing and really started to learn how to feel, how to be, like learning how to pause, how to notice, how to discern that ego from that intuition, how to stay when the discomfort came instead of escaping it once again. And the more that I brought awareness to that and I practiced that intentionally, the quieter those chronic responses became. Like I struggled with anxiety, overstimulation. I was a big fawner. The clearer the intuition became, the discernment started to become more and more clear. The deeper my self-trust was building, not because I was more confident, right? I had the confidence on the outside before. It's because I stopped abandoning myself. And that is a very good point to make too, is when I understood that self-trust isn't just about confidence. It's about safety. Because we don't need more quote unquote confidence. We need less external validation, less self abandonment. Because confidence says, I can do hard things. But self trust says, and I won't abandon myself while doing them. So the next time that you have a decision to make, you could pause, intentionally pause and think, what do I need? What do I need? What do I think I should do? Before you open your phone, call a friend, a loved one, open Chat GPT, think to yourself, phone yourself, right? Ask yourself, what do I need or what do I think? And allow that internal wisdom to come forward. And another practice that's really fun is this has to be like a 50-50, like a yes or no answer. You can make it into a yes or no answer, right? But grab a coin, okay? And, heads or tails coin and mark, one answer is, let's just say yes or no. But it's got to be, either or, right? A heads or tails. So give the yes heads and the no tails, okay? And literally flip that coin. And here's the kicker, like it doesn't matter what the coin actually lands on. It's your response to when that coin is in the air, maybe what you hope that coin is going to land on, or maybe when that coin does land, what you feel in your body. Maybe it's like, damn it, I wish it would have been tails or whatever. Like think of how you feel. when you're flipping that coin. Because you don't have to do what the coin says. It allows you to connect with what you're feeling and what you truly want inside. And if it really doesn't matter, like what's for dinner tonight, and you don't care, flip the coin and then get whatever it lands on. But this is really an internal connection exercise for you to connect with that felt sense of what you truly want. So let's conclude this workshop. Event 1 of 3 with a guided somatic practice to reconnect with your body. And if you haven't gathered, through the last little bit together, self-trust is not built by deciding consciously to trust yourself. We've all been there. It's built by creating safety within yourself to reconnect with yourself. So this is why we're going to close out today's practice with this somatic experience. Because we're going to feel like, or we're going to experience what it feels like to reconnect. So what I want you to do real quickly is pause me and just journal down what you're feeling right now. Doesn't have to be a big journal entry, just a few words like, how do I feel right now? Okay, we're going to do this right now. Maybe you felt a few triggers. Maybe you have these aha moments. Maybe you feel rushed because you have to get to the next thing. Whatever that is, how do I feel right now? And then we're going to check in again afterwards. Because this practice in itself, checking in before and after, it also helps you build awareness of your nervous system and your body, not just your thoughts. So take a few moments and do that now. And when you're ready, go ahead again and close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. We're going to gently bring our attention into the body. And this isn't about analyzing anything. It's about noticing what it feels like to be you right now. So let's start with a few slow breaths. Bringing your attention down to your feet. Noticing the contact that they have with your socks or your shoes or with the ground beneath you. Just bringing that attention down into your body. If there's any sensations. Now inviting you to move that awareness up into your legs. What do they feel like from the inside? Allow that awareness to trickle all the way up your legs, past your knees, up your thighs. Now resting in your hips, in your belly. Noticing what you're feeling in your belly right now. Maybe tingling, gurgling, any sensations. And now moving up to your chest. Just bringing an awareness to what's happening in this heart space. Noticing if there's any tightness, pressure, or maybe openness or spaciousness. And now moving up to your shoulders and down your arms to your fingertips. And surging its way back up to your shoulders and your neck and your head. Noticing what it feels like front to back, side to side, and top to bottom. Just observing, noticing how each breath may gently shift a sensation, or how thoughts may be coming in. Those subtle ripples just moving through. And if anything coming up feels uncomfortable, see if you can stay present with it without trying to fix it. Simply allowing acknowledgement into your somatic identity in this moment. What it feels like to be in your body right now. And that can change from moment to moment. We're just bringing our felt sense of connection back online. And when you're ready, you could open your eyes and come back to this present moment. Now making a connection to what you noticed, what you felt, if anything was different, or what feels the same. Just allow yourself to be in that experience as a whole, remaining present to it. So allow yourself to fully come back now and pull back out that journal, or just be with yourself. And now bring that attention and intention to what did I notice? Did anything surprise me? Maybe it was uncomfortable to slow down. So go ahead and pause me now and come back when you're ready. This is how self-trust begins. Not by that conscious willpower or deciding to, but by noticing, by connecting, by being and feeling. Know that you can access this anytime. What we did today is the doorway. Today was reconnection. The deeper work is learning how to process and move through what is starting to come up. Because sooner or later, we all have to learn how to sit with ourselves. And being intentional in the act is how we stay more and more connected. Because it's not about being regulated all the time. Again, we go through ebbs and flows, and we always are going to have a nervous system response. So next time, workshop 2, we're going to begin to understand what's running beneath the surface and how to bring that awareness into that acknowledgement. So again, a timestamp here, event 2 of this series. If you enrolled in the email workshop, obviously you'll be sent workshop 2. But if you're listening to this and you're able to come to live the event 2 workshop, that will be held April 18th, 2026. So go ahead, shoot me an email, hello@naturallympoweredliving, or be sure to follow my Facebook page, Naturally Empowered Living, and I'll have that event pop up pretty soon here. And also time sensitive, You are the first to know of an upcoming women's retreat that I am collaborating with and co-facilitating. There is also a wait list to be the first to know when the tickets go live. Right now, we just have like a save the date out there. So also follow me for more information on that. And as I said before, I have a podcast, Naturally Empowered Living, to stay up to date and to listen to past episodes. Episodes 167, 168, and 169 really expand on this conversation that we had today. So thank you so, so much for being here today. Wherever you are, wherever you're located, whatever time of life we're in, whatever year it is when you're listening to this, thank you for being here and for giving yourself this time. You do not need to force a new version of yourself, ever. You just need to stay connected to the one that's already here. Thank you. I'm sending my love and so much light.
Did you find this episode free or empowering? Please read my review. Tickle, 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 boop.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. If this episode brought you closer to stepping into your energy of alignment, I'd love for you to leave a written review and share how this show has supported your journey. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps others find this space of transformation. And sharing it with someone who might need it spreads the ripple of healing even further. Be sure to check the show notes for ways to connect with me and explore personalized healing sessions and mentorships to deepen your self-awakening journey. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.